Thank you all. Let me get straight to the point after a long day and a wonderful journey. And António Calçada Sá, I guess he set the motion of the day. He did something. I've been around the world in many conferences so on as chairman of ICEP and other roles. But what I saw here today, what António did, was a call for action. And that, I think, marked the whole day, the agenda, and boosted the contributions. And let me go on a very management-style note to present you a few phrases that are very symbolic of what has been said today, and then 8 specific projects that exactly, I believe, will resist the test of time, that will endure after we forget what has been said here. And that is really the challenge of some meeting like this, I believe. Anita has done a wonderful kick of the meeting, and I got her phrase that Africa has risen. Then we had Miguel Pinteluz, who said, hands-on attitude. That's what we need. José Manuel Durão Barroso, it's always difficult to sort out a phrase for such an experience and broad reading of the world and geopolitics and geoeconomics that we were able to learn always when we hear him. But he talked about a culture of engagement. Then we had Minister of António Costa Silva, my dear friend, and he challenged a digital revolution to promote inclusion. Audrey Motupi said something very interesting. Where there is access, there is opportunity. And that means saving lives. I could break here. Sean Drake said, lead the way through social impact. And then we had Minister Eduardo Cordeiro talking about an acceleration of economic diplomacy with a very specific agreement. And then I know something about economic diplomacy, and I think it was a wonderful example that was mentioned here. We had also Hastings Chicon when he said, no more hand waving. Let's go concrete. Let's go to implementation. Let's go to execution, as António Calçada challenges. Then we had Minister Abraão Vicente, wonderful speech, and he talked to us about the ambition and pragmatism. That word is also on the scope of today. And Otávio Simões said, worry about the end of the week, not only the end of the world. Let's just make it happen. That's the message of the day, I guess. Inês Rocha also gave us very insightful leads about integrated answers to face global challenge through bankable projects. Projects that you can make it happen. Once again, and that's also the challenge, by the way, of Portugal. So we are clear about that. Make it happen. Don't waste any more time. Go for action. Think about the people, direct impact. Miguel Mendes talked about the potential of Africa to bypass fossil energy and enter directly into renewables. That's a new generation that's coming up on both continents that make us more optimistic about our future. Mr. Chikoko challenged Africa to present what it wants to be done in an achievable and bankable way again. His Excellency, the Minister of Education of Ghana, told us how to challenge everyone to rise up to the next level. Everything is possible, is what he said, and what a beautiful phrase on Mandela Day. And what a beautiful day to organize this on such a symbolic and giant like Mandela. So my deep and my admiration on homage. Vivian called us all to start action and close the technology divide, and through that to close the generation divide, the generation gap. And that's all about what we are here facing in the world, in one of the most demanding times of a generation that we are facing nowadays. Aika Diallo touched me very profoundly. She basically reminded us of the essential. Let me just quote her. Education is investment, illiteracy is expense. Everything has to do about human capital, because that allows people to transcend. That's great, thank you, and that's beautiful. And not enough, he also said something very interesting, also to Portugal and to this moment. The key to quality of education is teachers. That's about everything. Harold Tavares also talked about enlarging the scope of Erasmus, a new release, a new age for Erasmus. António Calçado has mentioned that very much in Diaspora. Minister Silvia Lutukuta, Made in Africa, the concept of how to expand and boost the capacity to produce locally, and the new age of PPPs. That's a whole economic vision also. Congrats and thank you, Mrs. Minister, Madam Minister. And then we had to, for closing, Marianne, once again, always brilliant like last year, how to build up smart partnerships to kickstart new technology in Africa, and then reverse engineering, export it. That's the past into the future. Beatriz Imperatori, very interesting balancing and blending between urgency and disaccommodation. That's not what we have, it's not enough. That's the attitude. So to make a difference, just multiply its effects. And last but not least, my dear friend Ricardo Batista Leite and all the others that talked that I couldn't mention, and he is not anymore a rising star, he's an expert and a future, has a lot of future, and he is great in challenging the situation and grabbing the future. So what a wonderful ending. So let me go and close it with 8, I just lost on my small notes, but I'll find it, on the 8 projects. And as usually, Antonio is very demanding on execution. What will be the delivers of these days? And that's really the scope. What is the engagement that will go from the foam of the day? And let me just note 8 specific projects and ideas that I heard here during the day. 1, reverse technology from Ghana to US and how to do it more, to amplify it. 2nd, I heard ideas, very objective ideas about sustainable finance solution and instruments. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. 3rd, I heard some ideas and pillars on school strategy and literacy programs with a new scope, a new way to look at it, because everything is changing, not only digitalization. People's minds are changing. People's values are changing. People's objectives are changing. Smart grid projects also talked about here a lot, and that's direct impact, and that's how to make a difference. Even submarine cables investments were announced and challenged here, as well as infrastructure development to guarantee access. Design, I mentioned that, design a new Erasmus for Africa, and the capacity building regarding healthcare. So there are 8 ideas here, very specific, that I would say that if we came here next year with some developments, concrete developments on these subjects, with some alliance built on these ideas, with some partnerships cemented on these contacts, we won the day. And we've done something for the future generation, because that's all about it. It's about people. Thank you.